On November 25th, Doctor Who started its celebration of the show's 60th anniversary with 3 special episodes, with returning actors David Tennant and Catherine Tate, as well as returning showrunner, who left the show after Series 4 back in 2010, Russell T Davies. Russell was responsible for writing the show when it was revived back in 2005, and now, with the deal the BBC made with Disney, the show is set to get another reboot, counting from what people will consider Series 14 of the revival to be Season 1 of this new version of the show. So, while RTD had to make a special that celebrated the show's 60 years of history, he also needed a way to make a new jumping on point for audiences that would start watching the show from Ncuti Gatwa's first episode as the Doctor. With that in mind, what RTD did was use the 3 episodes to make introspective stories about the Doctor's character. He brought back David Tennant to play the Doctor, but not to play the 10th Doctor, the one he's famous for playing. He's playing the 14th Doctor, the Doctor after Jodie Whittaker's 13th, but still with the familiar face he had all that time ago. RTD used David Tennant, used the most famous and identifiable version of who most people consider to be the Doctor, whether you like it or not, to make a point about the Doctor, the character as a whole, and every incarnation of them, but especially the ones that have come since the revival. In the 3rd episode of the 60th specials, the Giggle, the Toymaker taunts the Doctor by mentioning all the companions the Doctor has left behind, whose deaths they caused, with the Doctor referencing how most of those companions didn't actually die. There was a way the Doctor found to save them, or some reason why they didn't suffer in the end.
Oh, well, that's alright then!
The Toymaker shows the Doctor that this way of trying to pretend like all their companions are fine, that they didn't scar all of them forever, cause irreversible damage to them physically and mentally, is just a way for the Doctor to cope, to keep going while not acknowledging what the Doctor did to all those people they care about so much. The previous 2 episodes explore the impact that the Doctor has faced mentally, with having to erase Donna's memory, having to keep changing and keep living, and never being able to have a normal life, that he's always wanted, that the 10th Doctor especially wanted, but felt like he could never have.
Living a life day after day. The one adventure I can never have.
With how the Doctor just found out so much about themselves with Tete Yoon and the Timeless Child, and how much pain they caused by not stopping the flux fast enough. RTD uses recent history from the previous era that just ended to drive home the point of how much the Doctor has had to deal with. Now with the return of the Toymaker too, something that the Doctor inadvertently caused by invoking a superstition at the edge of the universe in the previous episode.
Salt! You can't cross salt!
Which led to countless human deaths and potentially the death of his best friend Donna Noble.
I don't know if I can save your life this time.
Who he finally just got back. It's all too much for them. The Doctor has always had to deal with a lot at once, and because of the nature of how this show is, an adventure show with a very episodic structure, there has never been a time when the Doctor has been able to process all they've gone through. The Doctor just keeps moving, never looking back.
The Doctor, the man who keeps running, never looking back because he dare not out of shame.
But with the 14th Doctor, Russell T Davies does something brilliant. He uses this Doctor, an old familiar face, on a new and weary Doctor, to encapsulate all that. The 14th Doctor keeps being challenged on why he keeps running all the time, on the fact he's wearing himself thin and he needs to stop. Just stop for a moment. But the Doctor could never do that. The Doctor needs to keep going. They need to help people. That's what they do. They can't look after themselves when they need to look after everyone else. Well, that's where RTD's brilliance comes in. Because of the Toymaker, RTD is able to bend the rules of regeneration a little bit, introducing the concept of a bi-generation, where the 15th Doctor and 14th Doctor can coexist after 14 regenerates. Contrary to what people think, RTD used this concept in a really meaningful way. The 15th Doctor is a future version of the Doctor, one that's already processed all their trauma and guilt and is lighter and freer because of it. And he was pulled back through time so he could help his previous self to heal.
I'm fine because you fixed yourself. We're Time Lords, we're doing rehab out of order.
The 15th Doctor can let the 14th Doctor know that everything will be fine, that he doesn't have to worry anymore and he can just heal, because the 15th Doctor is there, out there, helping people. So RTD was able to find a way to keep the Doctor going, helping everyone, while also having the Doctor focus on himself. Finally address all the pain and trauma they've tried to ignore for centuries. This wasn't like the 50th anniversary special with the different Doctors in the same episode and the plot relating to the Doctor's home planet. but it celebrates the show's history just as much by encapsulating everything that the Doctor, but especially New Who's Doctor, has gone through. The Doctor has always carried a lot of guilt and has always been burdened by his past, especially after the Time War, and RTD managed to explore all of that, the impact it had on the Doctor, and move past it, have a fresh start with the 15th Doctor, without undermining any of that history. In that way, the Giggle was sort of a finale for New Who. It ends the character arc for New Who's Doctor, which started because of the Time War and now ends with him being able to finally process and move past all his guilt, while finally getting his happy ending, which is the one final scene this video is about. Just the 14th Doctor, David Tennant, happy, hanging out with his best friend Donna Noble and her family, not burdened with the weight of the universe on his shoulders and with the knowledge that everything will be fine, finally allowing himself to heal, while the new Doctor, the 15th Doctor, goes off on adventures, starts anew, as does the show, with RTD basically using the Giggle as a backdoor pilot for New Who. The Giggle managed to encapsulate all that Doctor Who was about for 60 years. The adventures, the moral dilemmas, the personal consequences, the heartbreak, and the friendships the Doctor has gone through. It celebrated everyone that has watched the show in any capacity during those 60 years, and it ended that arc to start anew, explore a new Doctor in a new way, without looking back, knowing that what has come before was very important and impactful, but that it doesn't have to hurt to say goodbye to what has gone. The new Doctor, who has already gone through the healing process 14 goes through, is much freer, much happier, much more confident, which is why it was so perfect to cast Ncuti Gatwa for the 15th Doctor. He's an actor that's very confident in himself, that loves himself and has a beautiful way of seeing the world, with wonder, which perfectly demonstrates what the Doctor, without all the guilt, is. Someone who loves helping people, who loves humanity, who loves adventures, and someone who understands the importance of the lives he impacts. So no, they didn't just do Bi-Generation on a whim for the hell of it.